Hello, my name is Hubwood, and since people asked me to do a quick review about this laptop I used for testing the gaming performance of the MX350 by Nvidia, I've decided to make a quick and dirty review about the Lenovo Ideapad 5 15ILL05, which I used for testing the MX350. So please forgive me if the production quality is a bit rough today because I'm just doing this quick and dirty. This laptop that I used comes with an Intel i7-1065G7 processor, which is a 4-core 8-thread processor with a maximum boost clock of 3.9 GHz and a maximum boost clock of 3.5 GHz if you put all 4 cores on the load while gaming or doing work stuff. It also comes with 16 GB of DDR4 RAM and 512 GB NVMe SSD. And it also has a 15-inch IPS display, which I will show you later. And of course the Nvidia MX350 graphics card, which has 2 GB of VRAM only, unfortunately. For this unit I paid 1,000 euros, which is about equal to $1,200 US dollars. But I think in US and the rest of the world it should be a bit cheaper than in Europe. And straightforward, to be honest with you, right now I would not pay that much money for this laptop, because for that kind of money you can get laptops with much better performance and less issues. But I'm guessing that prices will drop soon anyway, as usual. Well, now let's start with the build quality, which I kinda liked. The surface feels good, has a good haptic. I do like this, even though it's plastic and not metal. The laptop overall looks pretty decent, it looks kind of subtle, definitely no gamer design this time. Also it's very thin, it's a very thin and light laptop. And even though it's a 15-inch display, compared to my home laptop, which I usually use, it's a lot smaller, thinner in size and doesn't weigh that much. You can open the laptop with one hand if you're doing this quickly, because if you're doing it too slow, this is what's going to happen. Oh. And this is the maximum angle of opening it. The overall brightness of the display could be a bit brighter for my taste. I mean, it's enough. I didn't test it outside in the sun, to be honest, but I still feel that my other laptop, for example, has a brighter display than this one, and this is like 4 years old, and this is brand new. The monitor itself feels firm, you cannot bend it really well if you're doing this, which is a good thing. And as I said before, it's a 15-inch IPS display with full HD resolution, and it has really good viewing angles, so you can see everything from the side as well, and the colors don't change that much. Now, for connections, on the right side we have 2 USB 3 ports and an SSD card slot, as well as the microphone. And on the left side we do have an HDMI connection, a headphone jack, and an USB-C connection. So there's no LAN connection, which I find problematic, because wireless LAN often is not fast enough for my needs. And only 2 USB ports is really not that great. Yeah, to be honest, I don't yet have any hardware devices with USB-C, so maybe I should start using some of those. The keyboard itself seemed fine to me. I liked the design, I liked how it felt. And I have to say that I like the sturdiness of the touchpad. It has a nice click stability and clicking just feels pleasant. Yeah, I did like this. This does not often happen with touchpads for me, as I usually prefer to use mouses, but I was okay with this one. The webcam over here has a blocking option, so if you're afraid that somebody's going to watch you all the time, you can just switch over, and then a little piece of plastic is blocking the camera. So this is what the internal camera looks and sounds like, if this is of any importance to you. The keyboard itself is kind of okay, but I really like that it has a dedicated numpad. That's something I wanted to add. But there's one thing that I didn't like and it annoyed me. This is the politics about the function keys on the upper side of the keyboard. You have to press Fn to use the regular keys. Usually it's the other way around. There is a Fn lock key in which you can activate, so you don't have to press Fn, but this is going to reset itself after every reboot, and I kind of found that annoying because I usually use those F keys for saving games, recording and stuff, or using the print button. Yeah, I did not really like this. Now the loudness of the laptops, especially the fans, is okay when it's idle, but you usually still can hear it. It's almost running all the time. But when gaming on the full load, it gets really loud. That was kind of annoying, and after a while of gaming, the fans run at full speed all the time, which it can really disturb you and destroy the gaming experience a bit. For my taste, I usually prefer laptops which are not that loud. But still, the CPU gets really hot after a while, even though the fans are running at full speed all the time, which can result in frame drops in some games. I experienced this in Kingdom Come Deliverance, for example, when after a while CPU and GPU got so hot that it had to downclock itself and the FPS dropped down to like 7 or 8, and it was unplayable for 1 or 2 minutes until it cooled down itself, and then it was okay again. This is something that should not happen if you're gaming, because then it makes no sense if you have to stop gaming every 5 or 10 minutes and wait for the laptop to cool down. The speakers that are built in this thing could be described as mediocre at best, but I guess considering the height of the laptops, they are okay. They're built in right over here, so at least they're pointing directly at you. Yeah. And they don't get really that loud. So the installed SSD in this laptop is a NVMe SSD, and it achieved 2400 megabytes of reading sequential speed and 1000 megabyte of writing sequential. I had some very weird problems when unzipping larger files though. It would really take really long and slow down in the process, but to be honest, I did not bother to find out what caused it. But the boot time and reaction overall is really fine and very quick, no problems here. Another thing that got my attention is the tiny 65 watt PSU. It's over here, if you can see this. So 65 watt is the maximum that the laptop can draw from your wall, and it's limited by this. So there's also no headroom for overclocking the GPU. Cinebench R15 scored around 860 points in the first run and around 835 points in the following runs due to thermal and power limitations. But I guess 860 points is pretty good for a 25 watt or 15 to 25 watt CPU. That's very efficient. And Cinebench R20 scored 2043 points in the first run and around 2010 points in the following runs, also due to the same power and thermal restrictions. Now last but not least, the gaming performance of these laptops is enough for a few lighter games, or even AAA titles on lower or lowest settings. Sometimes you might even want to set your resolution to 900p to get decent frame rates. And I made a very detailed video in which I've tested 38 titles right over here, or over here, wherever. And I will also post the link in the description. I will also post a video in which I compare the MX350 to a GTX 960M and to a GTX 1050. So you can compare those GPUs. Oh, and as a result of the heating up while gaming, the upper right corner of the keyboard over here gets really warm. I did undervolt the laptop using throttle stop, as the Intel Extreme Tuning utility did not work yet, and that saved me around 2 to 4 degrees on the CPU. Now, as a conclusion for this laptop, I want to say that if you're planning to buy this laptop as a very mobile and slim work companion, you're probably good to go. It will also provide enough performance for a few gaming sessions here and there, but if gaming is more important to you, you probably want to think about another laptop with a faster GPU and a better power supply. what bothered me the most about this laptop is probably the noise it made under load and the fact that it has so few connections only. Don't forget to subscribe or like if you enjoyed the content. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye and tschüss.